All right, you're watching To The Point, and we're going to begin with some news break that is coming in right on top with all that is going on in terms in Maharashtra, where there's governor facing off with Uddhav Thackeray, where the governor wanted Uddhav Thackeray to open temples, asking him, is this your secularism? You've opened bars and not temples. Uddhav Thackeray reacting. But now, Sharad Pawar has stepped in, and that's the news break we're talking about. Sharad Pawar has written to the Prime Minister over the Maharashtra Mandir face-off, slamming the governor, Mr. Koshyari, saying that intemperate language used by the governor, letter seems that it has been written by a leader of a political party, clearly implying that the BJP has possibly written this letter, and the governor, the post which is said to be neutral, is speaking the language of a political party. All of this in the backdrop, viewers, of what has been going on. You had a letter which was written by the governor, you see, Mr. Koshyari, to the Chief Minister Uddhav Thackeray of Maharashtra, asking him that why hasn't the Chief Minister opened temples when he has opened bars. He also went on to say, have you become secular now? On the other hand, you had Uddhav Thackeray, who wrote back to the governor saying that my faith doesn't make me open doors to temples at a point of time when they're still in the midst of a pandemic. In the midst of all of this, Sharad Pawar has intervened, writing directly to the Prime Minister. Sharad Pawar has said, who is in alliance with the Shiv Sena in Maharashtra, slamming the governor. In his letter to the Prime Minister, Mr. Pawar writes that the language used by the governor was intemperate. The letter seems that it has been written by a leader of a political party. Things are heating up as we speak because, viewers, right now, the BJP in Maharashtra is protesting across the state, asking for temples to be opened up. And the reason that they give is, you've opened up bars, you've opened up malls, why aren't you opening temples? All right, so in the midst of it, there's also the central government's advisory. The health minister of the country, Dr. Harshvardhan, had said very clearly that do not visit temples, pray at home. You're in the midst of a pandemic. Let's put that aside and focus on our top story and To The Point this evening, and that remains what's happening in Hathras. It was day 2 of CBI taking over the case, investigating. Today they went to the crime scene. They also visited the scene of 30th September, 2:45 a.m., where the girl was burnt in the middle of the night without the will of the parents of the victim. All of that is in the backdrop, viewers, where the Allahabad High Court yesterday tore into the Uttar Pradesh police and administration, asking pertinent questions that shame the UP administration. They asked, would you have burnt her if she was your daughter in the middle of the night? If she came from a rich family, would you have accorded her the same treatment that you did? And then asking the ADG Law and Order, check your definition of rape. How do you know this girl wasn't raped? Take a look at this. Central Investigation Bureau team in Hathras at the spot of alleged incident of gang rape and murder on September 14th. Then, at the spot where at 2:45 a.m. on 30th September, the cops burnt the body of the victim against family will. The victim's mother and brother were brought to the crime scene by the CBI as they are the primary eyewitness. And reportedly, they have stuck to their stand. The CBI team, armed with the case diary from Hathras police, will camp in Hathras till the probe is on. However, the probe begins in the backdrop of a most searing dressing down by the Allahabad High Court of the Uttar Pradesh Police, the ADG Law and Order Prashant Kumar and District Magistrate Hathras Praveen Kumar. The Allahabad High Court, after taking suo cognizance of the Hathras incident on day 1 of the hearing, tore into the Uttar Pradesh Police and administration with shameful observations. If it were your daughter, would you have allowed the midnight funeral? Would you have dared to cremate the victim if she was from a rich family? How do you know the victim wasn't raped? ADG Law and Order should read the definition of rape. Ganga Jal sprinkled in last rites. You used kerosene. Dalits have same human rights as big business houses. Administration is speechless. They have no answers. The Hathras case has now become a battle of perceptions. with multiple narratives at play. With the Allahabad High Court now demolishing the UP administration on the handling of the case, one can only hope for a free and a fair probe, an investigation that will instill respect, at least in death, to this 19-year-old. Bureau Report, India Today. I want to cut across to our guest this evening. I have Tom Wadakan, BJP spokesperson, Supriya Srinate, Congress spokesperson. I also have Navneet Vasan, former CBI Joint Director. Before I go to our political guests, I want to get in a quick word from Mr. Vasan. Mr. Vasan, at this point of time, it's day 2 where the CBI has taken over the probe. Earlier, there was a huge issue because the government had asked for a CBI probe but not sent the notification. Once it was finally sent, the CBI started investigating. So all of this is happening in the backdrop where multiple narratives are at play. All of this is happening in the backdrop where yesterday the Allahabad High Court asked searing questions which completely embarrassed the Uttar Pradesh administration.
You see, the CBI has to do its professional investigation. They need not be impacted by any statements made by any political party or what is happening in the court. So they have to collect evidence in a meticulous manner. They have to ensure that nothing what can be collected to prove the allegation is collected from the scene, and all the statements of the witnesses are recorded faithfully and professionally, and then they will certainly be taking help of forensic science laboratory and medical opinion in this case, and thereafter they will come to a conclusion, and I am sure that they will do a professional job, and we, the public, looks towards CBI to give us a very, very professional investigation.
Well, right, sir. And of course, they will also be looking at the dying declaration of the girl, which said gang rape, and along with all that you also said. I want to now cut across to Mr. Tom Wadakan. Mr. Wadakan, how embarrassed would you reckon should the Uttar Pradesh administration be, where the Allahabad High Court asks them in clear words that if she was your daughter, would you have done the same? If she came from a rich family, would you have done the same? That the ADG Law and Order needs to get its definition of rape right. How do you know it's not rape? How embarrassed should they be, sir, today?
Well, what Justice Pankaj Mittal and Justice Ranjan Roy said was a humane stricture that would normally come through. The investigation and evidences are not there before the honorable justices right now. Questions are raised. There are a variety of narratives that are going around. Now, this is not the time, I repeat, Preeti, not the time when CBI has stepped in, 1348, they have stepped in, and an investigation is being processed to do a running commentary on what they have discovered or what they will do. Let them do their job. There is a variety of narratives. I saw something on your channel a couple of minutes before. A video was shown and there was a fact check, and it was discovered that it was not of Hathras. Now, the point here is hundreds of videos have come into surface. God only knows which is correct and which is wrong. Let justice be done. Now, who is embarrassed or who is not embarrassed is not the issue. Justice must be done. Now, I also take your attention to a similar situation that has happened in Kerala. And what has happened, this whole area, there were 2 Dalit sisters who were raped. And now the accused have been acquitted. Now, the point is, they are also Dalits. They also require the national attention.
But, you know, I'd appreciate it. I'd appreciate it, Mr. Wadakan, if we don't... Yes, it's a horrific crime that has happened in Kerala, and we will discuss it. Let's focus on this debate. I want to bring in Supriya Srinate in, but I want to ask you one quick question before I pull you in, sir. You said timing is everything in terms of what is happening right now, and one should not preempt anything. Was it wrong then, sir, for the ADG Law and Order, who right now has been given a hugest dressing down by the Allahabad High Court, to sit on television channels and say she wasn't raped?
Look, Preeti, what a police officer does or does not do is something for the state administration to look at.
True.
If the strictures are put on record, and it is also part of the judgment, there will be action taken at some point or the other. Now, whether his definition of rape is correct, incorrect, These are issues that will be investigated by one of the top agencies of this country to have a counter narrative which has been running, and why the body was burnt and all that issue, whether there was planning, there was a plan of riots in that particular area, was a caste riot planned. Now, all these are not questions that I want to raise.
Right, sir. So I want to bring in Supriya Srinathe, but let's keep it separate. Whether there were caste riots planned, whether there was, the hand or foreign hand involved, that's all a separate conversation. We're just talking about on what the ADG said and what the Allahabad High Court said. I want to bring in Supriya Srinathe. Supriya, Ms. Srinathe, right now, the CBI has stepped in. This is what the Congress had asked for. Is the Congress content right now? Because at the same level, the victim's family had asked for a judicial probe.
I will say two things, Preeti, before I move any forward. The CBI has stepped in 8 days after the UP Chief Minister announced there will be a CBI. For 8 days, they did not issue an official notification. Anyways, the CBI on its first FIR posted on its website, which has now miraculously been withdrawn, by the way, did not name a single accused. It was a nameless FIR that had filed. But that said, I want to go back to the point that you have raised, the larger point in this debate about what happened in the Lucknow bench of the Allahabad High Court. Very categorically, they asked why was the victim treated the way she was, and they were also asked, Prashant Kumar is not a junior officer. He is Additional Director General of Police, Law and Order. And he was asked, does he know the law? He sat on every channel passing value judgment that the girl was not raped because there was no semen. Does he not know that Section 375 of the IPC, which has been changed and amended in 2013, and the Supreme Court, Babulnath versus UP State, very categorically says, you don't need to find semen, you don't need penis penetration, and attempt to do so is also rape. He's been given a dressing down. I have a very simple point to raise here. He is one of the senior most officials of the UP administration. And where does the buck stop? Who does he report to? The Chief Minister. The Chief Minister did not break his silence for 15 long days. And today we can sit on judgment and say, no, we should not have a running commentary. We absolutely should not. But I want to place certain things on the record. The BJP, its troll army and the UP administration has not left one stone unturned to go into victim shaming. The girl has been called Avara. Ranjit Srivastava, their leader in Barabanki, has said, "Ye ladkiyan ganne ke khet mein kyun milti hain?" Surendra Singh has said, if they go to temples, this will not happen. Their MP from Chhattisgarh, Mr. Mandvi, has said, "Ye sab bakwas hai, Hathras mein to kuch hua hi nahi hai." One of their spokespersons with me on a show on your network has said, this is honor killing. They have already sat on value judgment and passed everything that they had to pass on this. What sort of nonsense is happening in Uttar Pradesh? I am in Maharashtra, which is in Uttar Pradesh, and I can tell you a stone's throw away here.
Right. Okay.
No, wait, please. A stone's throw away from here in Gonda, there was acid attack on 3 Dalit girls. You know why? Because the political patronage given to these monsters emboldens them to do this, and that is what is happening in Uttar Pradesh.
All right. I want to bring in Mr. Vadakan again. Mr. Vadakan, again, it's all well and good and say that action would be taken, but at a time where a 19-year-old has been character assassinated, would you reckon it's correct to question whether she was raped? To be questioned that she was raped before conclusive evidence, before an investigation? Correct, sir?
There is nothing like a black or a gray area in this. When the top investigators of this country are on their job, and they will
exactly, sir. So that's what my question, now, Mr. Vadakan. Because there is no grey, there is no black in that. Whatever might there be, it's at the behest of the courts and an investigation to decide. Can a cop sit and say no rape?
Well, the cop had some inputs. Based on that, he said something.
You have the dying declaration of the girl, Mr. Vadakan.
The evidences are to be presented in the court. Based on that, it will be established by this court. And there is a court in this country. It is not the Congress party's court.
1 second, let's go one by one. Mr. Srinathe, let's go one by one. Mr. Vadakan, I understand.
Of this country.
Sir, I understand you say there is a court.
Plan of action. What have they done in Rajasthan?
Sir, 1 second. Sir, 1 second. Can we go one by one, please? Mr. Vadakan, you said that there is a court, let the court decide. Should not have the ADG Law and Order and the district magistrate know that there was a court?
There will be action taken by the court if the ADG has not acted without any evidence. If there is an evidence, let him defend himself. The point is, this nation is run by the constitution, the law of this land. If the Congress party does not understand, then that's their problem. Because this country is based on law, justice, and not on emotional barking. You know, you can bark all your way through. But what happened in Kerala when a priest is burnt, no question.
Can I please comment?
Opportunity. The great Rahul Gandhi is missing in action. Why? Can't he go all the way to Rajasthan? Can't he travel? He's a member of parliament from Wayanad. Why is he not bothered about the two sisters who are Dalits? They were not inquired about.
Please comment.
I will. Give me. Let him finish.
Politicize human tragedy. This is politicization of human tragedy. You need to give the law and order machinery time to work. And if you don't do that, you run your running commentary, I'm sure you're not doing justice.
All right, Mr. Nate, yes, go ahead. You wanted to come.
I just have a very simple point to make. And the simple point is that for 15 days, where does the buck for law and order in my state stop? It stops at the doorstep of the Chief Minister. Why is it that when it comes to DM and ADG, action will be taken? Why have heads not rolled? Why was the UP Chief Minister quiet for 15 days? And Mr. Vadakan, stop quoting rape versus rape is all I will say. You're disgracing yourself and your party. This is about women anywhere. A crime is deplorable. It should not happen.
Don't play the women's card, victim card. This is a crime committed against women. We all support it.
All right. Okay, let's go one by one. Mr. Vadakan, you had your say. Let her finish.
Same question. What happened in Kerala?
Sir,
why did you not go there?
Sir, she accorded you the privilege of completing your... Sir, she accorded you... Mr. Vadakan, she accorded you the privilege of completing your...
Two sisters relevant, and they women.
Mr. Vadakan, she accorded you the privilege of completing your argument. Please extend the same. Extend the same privilege to her.
I'm sorry, I did not speak.
Make your point. Make your point. Mr. Nate, make your point. Make your point.
Common courtesy is not very common in the BJP, so I don't expect any better from him. But I will only say one thing.
Yeah, true, correct.
Please keep quiet. Is there something wrong with you?
Mr. Nate, can you... Can I just get Mr. Nate? Okay, let's go one by one. Mr. Vadakan, you've never been the kind to come into when your panelist is speaking. She allowed you that courtesy, sir. Extend the same.
She's calling me names.
Okay, please, let's not get into name calling.
Sorry, actually I'm not. You use the word bar. I'm not
okay,
even using
20
those words,
seconds.
So please don't go anywhere.
Okay, Mr. Nate, you have 20 seconds. I need to close the show. Let's not get into this.
Preeti, all I will say is that criminal negligence that has followed the horrific crime in Hathras is what has put us all to shame. And we need to collectively take responsibility for where our society is becoming, where the government needs to take responsibility for the criminal negligence at the administrative level. I mean, they can live in denial for all we care, but look at what is happening in Uttar Pradesh. There's a rape every 16 minutes.
All right,
Will you deny that?
Okay,
what about people who are saying ये लड़की आवारा थी उसके बारे में आपका क्या कहना है?
Fair enough. I want to close this debate right now, and I want to pretty much end it with what Mr. Navneet Vasun said, that if we leave it to the CBI to conduct a fair and a free probe, importantly, and hopefully the girl, at least in death, will get the respect she was not accorded when she was alive, whichever way the probe goes, whatever that conclusion might be. We leave it at that. Appreciate you all for joining us. Up next is Rahul Kamal.